Hi, Annie Salas. So, how did I get started with my business online? I was driven by pure desperation and panic. I lost my job in 2008, and then I knew that was coming, so I'd actually come up with a plan B. So the job that I lost was in the publishing industry, and I really enjoyed that job as a marketing and publicity manager. When I saw the handwriting on the wall as the first waves of the recession hit, I thought, okay, this is not gonna work out. I'm gonna be in really serious trouble. So my plan B was to get a real estate license in the state where I was living. And I already had gotten a real estate license in my home state of Pennsylvania, so I knew that I would be able to do that. And I happened to be living in the #1 tourist town in Vermont, and so there were lots of second homes, and the people, one of my really close contacts was a real estate agent, and getting sponsored wasn't going to be hard. So I went that route, and I passed the test. I actually passed it. I had pneumonia. I didn't know it yet, but I had pneumonia the day I took that test, and I aced the test. And sick. And so I aced the test, and I get ready to start, doing the real estate thing. And then the next wave of the recession hit, and the housing market crashed, right? So now I'm really, really, really in panic mode. And I can smile about it now because I'm out of the other side, but it took an enormous toll. And it lasted for a really long time. So I eventually had to be proactive, and I gave up my beautiful apartment where I lived. I loved where I was living. And made a move so I could be closer to family who was extremely concerned about my well-being. Thank you very much, family. And well, it's not like I didn't have skills. I had just come off of working on a successful electoral campaign working for Senator Bernie Sanders. He wasn't a senator then, he was a congressman, and I was on the campaign staff that got him into the Senate. And, well, look how that turned out. So that's great, right? So I had those skills. I had community organizing skills. I had tons of skills. But I was over 40. And in the new recession economy, I had no value at all to anybody, because anybody who was going to hire me, and I spent a year and a half just posting resumes and taking temp jobs, anybody who was going to hire me knew they were going to have to hire me for a livable wage, because that's what my experience required, and they didn't want to do that. So I was in panic and put out to pasture. And really treading water for a very long time. But during this time period, in my moments when I could, I got online. I went to libraries. I went to college, university libraries, so I could use the computer banks that weren't always busy, that I wouldn't get kicked off every 30 minutes. And I explored, and I searched, and I learned, and I looked, and I thought, well, maybe there's a place for me on the internet. Now, at that time, I was also very much involved in beekeeping, and I invented a board game. And I thought, well, it seems like the internet might be a place where I could actually sell the board game and market the board game. And so I explored that. Now, that hasn't come to fruition yet, because I was wise enough to know that things weren't lined up properly for me to really market that game, and I wasn't going to go out and borrow money to invest in mass producing a game that was it was just completely untested. I had enough common sense to not do that. So I kept going, and I borrowed money to take coaching, online business coaching, in 2013, and I went into that coaching thinking that somehow I was going to come out the other side. It was going to be about beekeeping and how wonderful bees are, and I was going to end up teaching a lot of kids about the importance of honeybees and pollinators. Well, that's not what happened. I came out of that coaching program realizing that 80% of the other people in that program with me didn't know anything about online technology, and that they were going to have a lot of trouble, and most likely their businesses were going to not get started, or they wouldn't last very long because they simply didn't have this information, and the coaching program wasn't giving it to them. So I came out of that coaching program with a pretty good proof of concept. And again, I can't tell you, I cannot express to you how painful this time was. It was really painful. And because of my spiritual practice and inner work and keeping a gratitude journal and finding something to be grateful about every single day, even if it's just breathing, I'm very fortunate to have a lot of love in my life. And so I just worked through never going out to eat, not sure if I was going to have enough money to get through the month, not being able to pay my rent on time. I gave up my car. Oh, it was really, really, really rough. So that was the place from which I began my online business. So if that's what you're going through, I really, really honor you for your desire to change your situation. And in my instance, in my circumstance, I did not feel that I had volunteered to go through what I went through. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I will tell you that I'm grateful for having gone through it. It changed my life, and I've always been about changing. I'm open to change. And it was work and millions of mouse clicks, I'm sure. But I've done it. I've got through it. I have a business. My business is growing. I've learned more. I've learned tons of stuff, and I've gotten much better coaching than the first coaching program I was in. But I still realized 6 months ago that even the best coaches just don't tell you how to make a marketing funnel. They assume that you come into their coaching knowing this information. And so one of the things I decided to add to my portfolio of just coaching that I offer is the basics of building a marketing funnel and understanding that having a business idea or a business concept or even a business plan isn't the same as having a marketing funnel, and to learn how to break it down into phases and then simple steps so that you will be ready to work with that great coach when you find him or her. And there are really wonderful coaches out there, and I've been lucky to connect with them and have the support I needed to take on the expense. So even now, I am just over the other side of the line, and it's kind of amazing. I'm really pinching myself because it's pretty cool. So this is what I wanted you to know, that you can have an online business. And the people that I'm most aligned with are people who are not selling to fear. And they're not selling to the kinds of things that generally are thought of as money makers. They are selling, and they're trying to sell to interchange and transformation, and honestly, how do you sell someone inner beauty, right? But we're living in a time where we've got to try to figure this out. So if that sounds like you, and you're a visionary, or you're a life coach, or you're doing work in the well-being area, personal development, we're probably going to be fairly closely aligned, and I will be able to help you build an effective marketing funnel. Then it will be up to you to implement and go out and test it and check it and improve it and learn from your own experience. But along the way, I'll certainly share with you what I've learned and you can borrow my confidence for as long as you need to. So that's what I wanted to tell you. And I wanted to tell you that you can get started with me very simply for $37 with my little video demo course, Funnel Cake, because building a marketing funnel is a piece of cake once you have the right recipe.